All right, so we got some jobs report to go through and also some market data to really go through as well. So let's go to news today. All right, I don't want to waste too much time. Let's go through job growth. Seen slowing but remaining strong. Okay, so from last month we actually had 428,000 um, employees, additional jobs coming in. For this month, we were expecting 328,000, and we kind of met alongside. Over here, they see that wages increased, slowing to 5.2% on the year, down from 5.5% in April. We see unemployment rate falling slightly to 3.5%, which is good. Okay, because the thing is that even though, which is why, according to the headline as well, job growth is seen slowing but remaining strong. Okay, even though that the amount of jobs that's out there is a little bit lower, but the unemployment rate is relatively low as well. So not too much to worry about. But of course, the goal is to actually bring down unemployment rate down to about 2% to even 1.5% as well. All right, so anyway, move on to the next news. The stocks future slip ahead of the jobs report. Of course, we hope that jobs keep on going up, but you don't really get to have that benefit as well, especially with what a lot of the tech companies are doing. Okay, you can look at Facebook, you can look at Peloton, you even look at Tesla, which is going to be one of the articles that we're going to be going through today. Okay, Elon Musk basically came out to say that there's going to be a 10% jobs cut even at Tesla as well, especially with what happened, I think 3 days ago, with the email coming out saying that working from home shouldn't be a definite thing, and people should come back to the office for at least 40 hours minimally per week, things of that nature. Pretty cool. So yeah, stocks futures slip. Definitely, we're looking at the SPY kind of drop a little bit, 0.6% at the moment. The Nasdaq dropping about 1% in the pre-market. Of course, Tesla is dropping about 5%, 4.8% or so right now, especially with the jobs report cut. Basically saying that there'll be a cut in the jobs. I think that will definitely be affecting it a little bit. All right. Next up, we got Biden urging gun legislation following mass shooting. And I think that this is again very very political. With what is happening in the United States, I think there has already been three shootings in the past 3 weeks. That's almost like one shooting per week. Is pretty bad. But of course, they are trying to get. Well, they cannot really get rid of guns. I don't think that the United States got it in them to get rid of guns, but they're trying. Okay, the president calls for reinstating ban on assault weapons, banning high-capacity magazines. He says, "For God's sake, how many more carnage are we willing to accept?" Okay, but even though he's saying that this kind of thing, you should kind of read the bill that he's trying to bring out as well. Okay, because the thing is that Biden knows that he's unable to really ban gun, firearm in general. So yeah, he said he supports the bipartisan thought while throwing his support behind a broad set of what he termed common sense democratic measures, including reinstating a long lapse ban on assault style weapons, or failing that, raising the minimum age of purchase such firearms to 21 years old from 18, banning high capacity magazines. Many of the proposals he cited have been rejected by Republicans and have no plausible path to passage. Okay, and of course, in this sort of scenario, I'm just gonna come out outright because I've always shown my support to the Republican. I do think that this is very very bad for the Republican. I do not know what are they thinking. Of course, they are trying to do a lot of the lobbying for the gun rights because that's how they actually earn all of the money as well. But I'm not sure if you're raising the age of buying firearms from 18 up to 21, is that really going to help much? I'm not sure if banning the high capacity magazines is going to help much. Okay, ultimately, as long as there's firearm and people are willing to break the law to get the firearm, things are gonna happen. Okay, I don't think in the past 20 shootings that have happened in the United States, it is because that they were they were all pretty legal and they got the weapons properly and such. I think that a lot of time the gun shops or those merchants basically just didn't really go through with all the backdating and all the proper profiling, and that was those are possibly those reasons that those shootings actually even happened to begin with. Okay, So of course, Biden didn't delve into the specific negotiation, but he chastised Senate Republicans, saying many didn't want to debate or vote on gun measures, and he called on voters to punish the GOP in the midterms if no progress is made in Congress. Of course, I do think that this is the best time for the Democrats to actually take a jab at the GOPs, because right now, especially with how attractive Biden is for the next president, it's not really turning out very well. I do think that this is the best time for them to actually come back with this, especially if the Senate becomes the Democratic Senate again. Okay, that's going to be good for passing this sort of laws. But I still think that the amount of Republicans that's in Senate is still going to make it hard for the Democrats to really pass this sort of laws anyway. So critics of the Democrats' approach say the measures won't prevent crime and would curtail gun owners' constitutional rights. But yeah, basically, America is all about their own constitutional rights, and I can see where the Republicans are also coming from. But I just feel that if you do not have firearm, it's a lot easier that way. In their own mindset, they're just saying that because if you were to do so, okay, if you don't have guns, even if you do not allow guns to be there, people are still going to be committing the crimes. Okay, people are not going to be using guns, people are going to use knife. Okay, and people are going to just use the various different other weapons to commit such carnage, as what Biden would usually say. So yeah, all that the president repeatedly proposed will only infringe on the rights of those law-abiding who have never and will never commit a crime. Okay, and of course, this is the National Rifle Association. I feel that it is definitely a biased statement to begin with. So yeah, okay. He said that he also stands ready to work across the aisles to find common ground, something that was absent from President Biden's address. Okay, he's a Republican, talking that he's definitely willing to look at what they can actually do. But like I said before, I don't think increasing the age from 18 to 21 is going to do much of a difference. I think that if they really want to hold on to their constitutional rights for guns, okay, I think training, okay, and having this like every 6 months or every year coming back to kind of have a refresher course on how to handle the firearm for like a 3-day course or a 5-day course would be very, very beneficial. Okay, this way you can actually kind of continue to keep on the profiling as well, and of course make sure that they have constant check on all the firearm to make sure that all the firearm are properly marked with proper records, so that profiling is going to be more efficient that way. Okay, I think that of course bringing the age up from 18 to 21 is a definite. If anything, I would even go even higher to even 24 or even 28. Okay, I don't think that 21 years old is still going to be so-called a safe age either, because let's be honest here, because if it's 21, you're still gonna see colleges getting such issues happening. Okay, it's still a possibility. So ultimately, I do think that it's better for them to kind of just increase the age even more. It doesn't really matter. Okay, people might lose on their hobbies and such. We don't care. Okay, you over and over again we hear thoughts and prayers, but it's not helping when the shootings continue to happen. And recently, it's just happening a lot more frequently. So, my thoughts. All right, so Biden spoke near 56 lighted candles in the background along the cross hall of the White House, representing the victims of gun violence in the nation's 50 states and 6 territories. He's over here. The Protecting Our Kids Act would ban the manufacture and sales of high-capacity magazine that holds more than 10 rounds of ammunition, raise the purchasing age of AR-15 semi-automatic assault rifles to 21, establish new federal offense for gun trafficking and straw purchasing, and new requirement for gun storage at home. You would ensure so-called ghost guns are subject to existing federal firearm regulations, which is what I'm talking about. Okay, you need to make sure that all these so-called ghost guns are actually properly profiled and checked for records. Okay, of course, this is going to be adding a lot of additional burden and responsibilities to all those different officials, but this is what is needed to be done. Okay, and especially checking with all those gun merchants. I think those are going to be one of the most critical, most integral part as well. The gun merchants are the direct suppliers of these firearms to the consumers, and the consumers are the one that are free to do whatever they want with those guns. So, all right, anyway, moving on to the next news. Okay, Nasdaq future drop after Tesla job cuts report. Okay, earlier I talked about it as well. Elon Musk said that the electric car maker needs to cut jobs. S&P 500 contracts also slipped before a key US payroll report that the investor will study for clues for the pace of a central bank policy tightening. Okay, do we have Tesla over here? Okay, we do. That's great. Okay, Tesla paused hiring, Musk say needs to cut staff by 10%. With some 99,290 staff, a 10% would equate almost 10,000 jobs. U.S. economic growth has downshifted, Federal Reserve said this week. Okay, so pause all hiring worldwide. This is going to be huge for Tesla. Okay, that's definitely going to be affecting Tesla to a certain extent. The billionaire executive earlier this week urged everyone at electric vehicle manufacturer back to the office. Talk about a whole minimum 40 hours in the office per week. The more senior you are, the more visible you must be your presence. That's why I lived in the factory so much, so that those on the line could see me working alongside them. If I had not done that, Tesla would long ago have gone bankrupt, which is true. I do respect Elon for the amount of effort he put in. As much as he is a CEO, he's as much of a groundman as well. Okay, he put in a lot of effort being there. Even on a lot of interviews, you can see that they actually do the interview over at the Tesla factory. But of course, a lot of naysayers will say that, he probably kind of staged it to a certain extent and so on and so forth. So I can see why. Okay, record production. The EV maker produced 930,422 cars last year, delivered 936,222 cars, a record even despite a global chip shortage that's been ongoing for more than 12 months. And COVID-related supply chain snarls. In China, Tesla's second most important market after the US, the company's Shanghai factory was shut for 3 weeks in April due to the lockdown. It generally pumps out about 2,100 cars a day. Tesla shares, of course, went down a little bit. Okay. So yeah, like I said before, I do think that this is definitely going to be affecting Tesla to a certain extent. But yeah, I do think that this is happening for a lot of companies. It's not just going to be Tesla. Like I said before, Facebook, Snapchat, a lot of them are definitely going to be going through a slowing of hiring or even pausing and freezing of hiring. I think that's about time for them to actually go through that. All right, next up, we got India reports biggest jump in COVID cases in almost 3 months. Okay, Mumbai saw a 231% increase, a surge in hospitalization in May over April. This was the highest one-day rise in infection since March 11. So, of course, even in Singapore, we also received news that, the pandemic might actually come back a little bit. COVID, new viral spread might actually come back again in a few months as well. So, of course, those are going to be concerns in the market as well, which is why I'm also starting to look into a few safer stocks for me to actually get into, especially during some form of a pandemic fear. But right now, I'm actually looking into commodities. I'm looking into commodities ETF in specific. But I think I want to actually go through a little bit more, kind of understand it a little bit more before I actually, give you guys more information about it. But yeah, over here we have to talk about India, okay? And it's not going to be just India, because I think China eventually is going to come up to talk about how the reason why they've been going through with the zero COVID policy, this is one of the reasons why it's so important and such. I think if China were to come out of this, standing up ahead, there's a good chance that China would actually overtake US by a huge amount. But of course, we are also hoping that there won't be any new subvariant, some new variant. It could be the Pi variant coming up right next. So yeah, hopefully we do not get any of those nasty news coming up, especially for the COVID side of things. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have for today's news. And I don't think I have anything else for me on the Bloomberg and Wall Street. Okay, yeah, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the weekly video. Thank you so much.